From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is AgDay.
Coming up on AgDay, keeping things calm.
They're not going to be stressed, not going to be worried.
We're talking turkey and taking the stress out of the holidays for a better bird.
A lot of things, some of it you can't really make out what was once here.
AgDay's Betsy Gibbon takes us on a tour of damage in Paradise, California following a deadly wildfire. And China's take on the G20 meeting with the U.S. and what we're hearing about the trade truce.
AgDay, brought to you by the Chevy Silverado, the most dependable, longest-lasting full-size pickups on the road.
Good morning, I'm Clinton Griffiths. We are now hearing from China in regards to the trade truce between China and the U.S. that was reached at the G20 summit over the weekend in Argentina. China releasing a statement, quote, China will start implementing specific issues on which consensus has been reached, and the sooner the better. The statement coming from the Commerce Ministry on its website. It noted China would, quote, actively promote the work of negotiations within 90 days in accordance with a clear timetable and roadmap. The ministry also saying it was confident in implementation and the latest bilateral talks were very successful. President Trump tweeting on Wednesday, quote, very strong signals being sent by China once they return home from their long trip, including stops from Argentina. Not to sound naive or anything, but I believe President Xi meant every word of what he said at our long and hopefully historic meeting. All subjects discussed, unquote. So how soon will we see U.S. ag start flowing again to China? Bloomberg News reporting Chinese officials are preparing to restart those imports, specifically U.S. soybeans and liquefied natural gas. Now, if true, it backs up a statement released over the weekend from the White House that China had agreed to start buying some U.S. products immediately. President Trump retweeting portions of the Bloomberg report on Wednesday. Bloomberg also reporting it's not clear whether China would cut the tariffs it imposed on soybeans when those buys happen. Now, Chinese imports of American soybeans fell a whopping 95% in October. But is it a case of too little too late? An official with Cargill Incorporated saying on Monday the U.S. may have missed an important window to sell soybeans to China. Dave Balder is managing director of North America Grain for Cargill. He said at a conference in St. Louis on Monday that China usually buys 3 months ahead and heavily between September and December. Now, China's been buying supplies mainly from Brazil lately. And there's word that Brazil may be expanding its agricultural land. Reuters reporting the country could open up 106 million acres of land in the Cerrado region. That's in the tropical savanna of Brazil. A chief executive of Brazil Grain Producers SLC, Agricola SA, said there could be an increase in grains and sugarcane production. He said expanding ag production would demand heavy investment. And negotiations are still ongoing over the new USMCA agreement. U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer confirming talks with Mexico and Canada about U.S. metal tariffs. We're not going to pause. He said, we're continuing this week in an effort to come to a conclusion before long. President Trump, along with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and outgoing Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto, signed the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement at the G20. It will replace the North American Free Trade Agreement, but it still must be approved by the legislatures of all three countries. Officials are allowing some people from a California town leveled by a wildfire last month to return home. The Butte County Sheriff's Office says evacuation orders are now lifted for some neighborhoods in Paradise. That's where a fire destroyed about 14,000 homes and killed at least 85 people. AgDay national reporter Betsy Gibbon is in California right now surveying the damage. She took us on a tour of that damage on Facebook Live.
A lot of things, some of it you can't really make out what was once here. This looks like glasses of some sort. Just a bunch of destruction here at the mobile home park. One thing to make note of is as we were driving here, as I mentioned, some of the roads were closed, but on the way on Neal Road, which is one of the main roads coming in here is what I've been told, N-E-A-L, Neal Road, we saw a lot of trailers where it looks like some of the folks are living right now.
Betsy also talked to a rancher in the area about the biggest struggles they're facing right now. You can see more of Betsy's reporting on the scene in Paradise by heading to the AgDay Facebook page. Winter weather still finding its way into corners of farm country. Cindy Clausen with the AgDay weather team joins us with today's crop comments. Cindy?
Thanks, Clinton. Well, you know, our friends at the National Weather Service in Omaha, they shared this photo with us. The caption says it all. Any guesses what this strange glowing yellow thing in the sky is? Well, it has been a few days since we've seen it, so we weren't sure. Well, of course, they're talking about the sun. Yes, sunshine and a little warmer yesterday. Highs there reaching into the 30s, but some colder air is on the way. Let's take a look at the wind forecast. We're going to have a front going through the nation's midsection, so you can kind of see the winds a little bit breezier along that front and low pressure system as it's starting to move through the Great Lakes. Overnight, we'll see those winds translate to the east, and then we start to see some moisture and some activity, especially into the southwestern parts of the country. We're going to see a lot more rain moving through into the southern plains as we get into Friday as well. We'll have your national forecast coming up in just a few minutes, but for now, here are some hometown temps.
Keeping track of the shifting market prices has never been so easy. Get the latest commodity prices sent directly to your cell phone with market updates. Just text Markets 8 to 31313 to get started.
I spent the first of this week at Farm Journal's AgTech Expo, and they just named a Best in Show. 4 tech startups were chosen to make a pitch for a $100,000 venture capital investment. Now, the winner was Copper Cutter and its Arrow conversion kits. The concept allows farmers to harvest not just corn, but sorghum, sunflowers, and many other crops with the same head. Now, the combine, supported by Ag Launch and the Nova Ag Innovation Fund, it's a USDA certified investment company with investors from 8 farm credit banks. Congrats to Copper Cutter. Maybe we'll see that product out in the field someday. When we come back, we'll talk taxes with expert Paul Neiffer. He has advice for the end of the year. And later, we're off to England for a stress-free Christmas, at least for this flock of tabletoppers today in the country. In agribusiness, while financial markets closed in honor of George H.W. Bush, commodities were open. Let's see where things finished Wednesday from the floor of the CME in Chicago.
Soybeans today was higher. Traders are still hopeful for a resolution with this China and U.S. trade talks. The next export report really is pushed back to Friday, and the word is that it's going to be pretty good. I think the market really kind of took off a little bit. We know that it's a little bit thinner trade today because there isn't as many participants with a national holiday with a lot of the markets, and some of the traders have kind of taken the day off. But some traders are really trying to take advantage of this slow day and kind of get on top of the market here. Corn was also firm today. We had a new high in the cash market. That really helped the market. There's been a little bit of a sell-off as we get closer to the end of the day, but the futures we're holding above that 100-day moving average, so that's really positive for the corn. Live cattle today was mixed. There was very little cash trade to kind of give us any idea of what's happening. That's all from the floor at the CME Group. Here in Chicago, I'm Virginia McGathy.
Adjustments to the tax code are still really new, and farmers saw significant changes. Tyne Morgan joins us now with advice on handling tax time here at the end of the year.
Here now with Paul Neiffer of Clifton Larson Allen. Paul, a new tax code that we're all still trying to digest, including you, right? I mean, there's still some unknowns when it comes to this new tax code.
There are actually a lot of unknowns. We've gotten some guidance, like on 199A, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. We just got some guidance out on the business interest limitations, but we're still waiting guidance on this new excess business loss and several other things.
Well, last time we spoke, you know, there were a lot of unknowns still about 199A, and you said, I would call this new tax law, I would give it a B+ for farmers. Now that you have more details, how would you rate this tax code?
I'm dropping the rating a little bit. I would say it's a B or a B-.
Why?
Because of, like in the 199A, there's certain types of income that probably likely won't qualify for the deduction. This new excess business law may actually penalize some of our farmers that are not going to get the deductions they were counting on. We didn't really know all of that at the beginning, but now that we've gotten some guidance and some ideas from the IRS, we're starting to find out maybe it's not quite as good as we thought.
But for the good, Who benefits the most from this new tax law in agriculture?
Yeah, I think in agriculture, the ones I see benefiting the most are what I call our middle income class tax farmers, those that are making $100,000, $200,000 and they have 3 or 4 kids under age 17. We've run some analysis and they're likely looking at a 20 to 40% tax decrease in certain situations, so they're really benefiting the most. Lower income farmers, they're having a little bit of help, but not as much as that middle income class. And then some of our farmers out there are still doing fairly well. Maybe they got some other business income that they're generating a fair amount of income. They're going to benefit especially from the lower rates.
Well, Section 199A, we knew there were some loopholes. Those kind of got worked through. But when do cash rents qualify in Section 199A?
Very good question. Nobody truly really knows yet. Now, let me back up a second. If we have a farm operation where you sort of have one entity is the farmer, let's say an S-Corp, another entity owns the farmland, and they're under what we call common ownership, at least 50% is held by the same owners in each, then that automatically qualifies for 199A, the rental income, all of it, even if they're not involved in the farm operation. But if you're a typical retired cash rent landlord, likely based on the proposed regulations, likely that doesn't qualify.
Interesting. All right, Paul Neiffer, thanks for trying to provide some clarity in this new tax law. We appreciate it. Stay with us. We need to take a quick break, and then we'll have much more right here on Ag Day.
Ag Day, brought to you by Corvus Corn Herbicide from Bayer. Get an early season win against weeds with Corvus for end of season rewards.
Welcome back to Ag Day. I'm meteorologist Cindy Clausen. And Cindy, we've been watching winter storms kind of work through the northern half of the country, but the southern half about to get some storms.
Yeah, some storms, definitely a lot of wet weather that's going to be moving across the southern tier of states. Here's what's going on. We have a system that's moving onshore the southwest. We also have a low pressure system in the southern plains. Eventually all this moisture is going to be joining forces there. Along this front here, we're going to see some snow in that colder air. High pressure keeping things dry today. That won't last long as this whole area of moisture is going to be moving across the country. High pressure in the plains today, especially the northern plains. All right, here comes that front. We're going to see that snow in the northeastern United States, and then warmer. We'll see a little rain there. We've got some upper elevation snow in spots as well. Low pressure continues to move on to the east. All of that moisture now moving into the southern plains. Notice there could be some icy conditions in parts of Texas. High pressure keeping a lot of the central and northern plains dry into a lot of the northwest. That will eventually change as well. Still a chance for some snow showers, especially in the Great Lakes and then to the far northeast. But heading through the day on Friday, we'll have another system approaching the Pacific Northwest, and really look how that rain develops as we get into the eastern part of Texas and we start to trap into some of that Gulf moisture as well. Now, as far as precipitation, the past 24 hours haven't been too bad in most of the country. We've seen that rain moving onshore in California. Then as we go through the next 24 hours, you really see that rain picking up as all of that moisture translates eastward. Our model is showing over 2 inches of rain in spots, even 3 inches. You get down into the northern parts of Mexico and over towards Baja California. And we do have some snow for parts of the Great Lakes and into the northeast. And this is what the estimate is as we head into the next 24 hours. We do see that snow in parts of the Rockies, but then into the northeast and Great Lakes as well. Taking a look at how temperatures are shaping up, definitely cold. High of only 15 in Minneapolis, and these cold temperatures translate all the way to the south where we're seeing some 30s and 40s. You finally get some more seasonable weather as you get really far to the south. But it gets even colder tomorrow for a lot of folks. Look at this, lows in the single digits. Minneapolis, even Omaha, Rapid City, very chilly air there, and it doesn't warm up a lot tomorrow because we're going to see even cooler temperatures. Chicago only 21, Omaha, Minneapolis only 16 for highs tomorrow. Now, as we take a look at the jet stream, we still have that big trough, pretty much where it's been over the past couple of weeks for the most part, and we'll start to see that moving to the east. We're going to see a bit of a ridge translating to the east. I wouldn't expect super warm temperatures, but you might get a little bit of a warm up, but don't expect it to last long because we'll have another trough by the end of next week. That's your national forecast. Now let's check on the weather where you live. Joshua Tree, California, rainy and cool for you today with a high of 49 degrees. Zap, North Dakota, partly cloudy with a high of 18. And Rockwood, Pennsylvania, chilly with snow showers and high of 35.
A donkey and an emu have made quite a bond, and now they can stay together, and it's thanks to the Walking Dead actor Jeffrey Dean Morgan. North Carolina Animal Rescue Group says Morgan adopted them. The pair, named Jack and Diane, were rescued from Kershaw, South Carolina, when their owner vanished. The two cuddle and sleep together, but cried and became frantic when they were separated. Officials say Morgan was the best choice since he has resources to care for the pair, and they will be able to roam free on his Hudson Valley, New York farm. A major beef recall continues to grow. We'll have details next in our Drovers TV report. And later, this family farm prides itself on a stress-free Christmas, not for themselves, but for their birds. Details in the country.
Join Andrew McCrae for Farming the Countryside, a farmer-focused podcast that is all about production agriculture. Farming the Countryside is available wherever you listen to your favorite podcast and is brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions, the world's largest provider of crop inputs and services.
More U.S. beef is being recalled because it may be contaminated with salmonella. The U.S. Department of Agriculture says a unit of Brazil's JBS is now recalling a total of more than 12 million pounds of raw beef that was shipped around the country. JBS Tolson in Arizona already recalled about 7 million pounds of beef back in October. Health officials say their investigation identified additional products with the USDA inspection number EST 267. The products were packaged between late July and September. USDA says any products still in people's freezers should be thrown away. 246 illnesses have been reported. We have info about the recall on our website. Head to agday.com. An interesting study on antibiotics in cattle. USDA researchers say they found little difference in levels of antimicrobial resistant bacteria in ground beef samples from either cattle raised without antibiotics and in ground beef from conventionally raised cattle. A total of 370 ground beef samples were collected from both groups of cattle. The researchers noted U.S. ground beef with raised without antibiotics label claims is perceived as harboring fewer bacteria with antimicrobial resistance than are found in conventional ground beef with no such label.
However, USDA said it found these study results were consistent with prior research suggesting antimicrobial use in U.S. beef cattle has minimal impact on the antimicrobial resistance of bacteria found in these products.
The researchers said the results should spur a reevaluation of assumptions regarding the impact of antimicrobial use in U.S. beef production and the antimicrobial resistance in ground beef. If you're feeling the rush of the holidays, don't fret about your Christmas turkey. These birds are calm and cool during the holiday season, and it's just like their owners like them. Details next.
In the country, brought to you by Kubota. Check out Kubota's RTV-X 1140, a rugged utility vehicle with seating for 4. Stop by your local dealer today or visit Kubota.com.
Wouldn't it be great if the holidays could be stress-free for everyone? Well, at one free-range farm in the UK, they're doing just that for their turkeys. Take a look at what they're doing to help keep their moment of zen going.
Christmas is one of those traditional meals, so people are looking for the tradition behind it, in a traditional setting, that family setting, and the turkey being a centrepiece of that Christmas meal is really traditional. The whole business is aiming one day a year for that Christmas market.
People have different traditions, but I would say the turkey generally, we saw last year that there was actually a slight increase in turkey sales in terms of generally across the market.
We spend 11 months planning it, 1 month doing it, and then and then we go and reset the clock and go again. And also the way it goes around to when you process the birds, you know that if a turkey is stressed, naturally it's going to tense its muscles up and be, oh, I'm panicking about stuff. It's going to engage the muscles, release lactic acid into the muscles, so when you cut into the meat can be very tough and chewy. If the bird is happy, well, like these are, running around, doing what turkeys do, enjoying themselves, they're going to eat more, they're going to be more relaxed, they're not going to be stressed, not going to be worried.
About half of Copa's 30,000 turkeys have already been ordered for Christmas dinners. The rest await their fate. That's all the time we have this morning. We're sure glad you tuned in. Spend part of your day with us. From all of us here at AgDay, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Have a great day.